This rabbi told me that the Mashiach is not even going to receive prophecy until the third Bet HaMikdash is rebuilt. In that case, how is he going to know what to do before that?
Mashiach is not going to receive prophecy until the Bet HaMikdash is going to be built?
Yeah.
What does he mean he's not going to get prophecy? So what is he going to do? Just hang out, go to work? I don't understand.
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
I don't know what context this rabbi was telling you this, whether he was telling you about what's going to happen in the future or not. I'd say I would have to hear it from him, or perhaps see what book he quoted to read the context that he's referring to. It's like there is a famous Gemara where Resh Lakish says there is a no Gehenom. There's no Gehenom in the future. No Gehenom in the future. But then there's another Gemara that Resh Lakish, same Resh Lakish, gives you details, Masechet Pesachim, gives you details of the fire of Gehenom. Wait a minute. You just said one hand there's no Gehenom in the future, and another one you told us the details of Gehenom. So is there Gehenom or no Gehenom? Right? It's confusing. So the Ramban writes in a Shar HaGmul, detailed analysis of what is he referring to. Surely Resh Lakish knows and believed that there is a Gehenom, but when he said the statement that there's no Gehenom in the future, he didn't say that there's no Gehenom in the world. He was referring to the future when the Mashiach comes in this world for certain types of people, certain types of time. It was a specific type of statement catered to a specific type of time. It's not Gehenom in general. But unless you read the entire Gemara and you read the commentaries by the Chachamim, you think that there is a contradiction here. Why? Because on one hand he says there's no Gehenom in the future. On one hand he's telling you the details of Gehenom. But then you have to understand, he's not saying there's no Gehenom in the world. He's saying in the future. What's the future? When you mention the future, you're mentioning times of Mashiach. You mention the times of Mashiach. You're not mentioning eternity. You're not mentioning the next world and so on and so forth. So it's very, very important when we read the statements of the Chachamim that we not only analyze what was written before it and what's written after it, but we also analyze how it's written, what words are being used, and what the Chachamim commented on this specific thing. Because without it, we're simply Christians. That's how Christians make their mistake of idol worshipping. What do? They read the Chumash and the Tanakh without Jewish commentary. They read it with their own logic. Whatever they read and they understand literally is what they think happened. And that's a problem. Why? Because you're never going to understand anything in the Torah that way. You're always going to get to a mistake. Always. Without an exception. But that's what they do. They read things without commentary. And that's why, for example, every Christian that's a religious Christian, that's a missionary, he's always going to mention to you Isaiah 53. Why? Because in Isaiah 53, it says the word suffering servant. So their pastors and priests told them that the suffering servant surely means Yoshke. Even though Yoshke was not born for many, many years, and so on and so forth. But what's the problem with this? Is that we do not get to a conclusion based on just what the sentence itself says literally. We get to a conclusion by analyzing the world around that sentence. What happened before? What happened after? What's the body of the sentence? You're never going to just simply read the headline in a newspaper, le'avdil, and assume that you understand everything that happened in this event that's a 3-page article. The headline is in essence giving you some type of tease to read the rest of the article. It's not telling you what really happened. It's not really telling you what's happened. Or else everything would just be, headlines. So, needless to say, the Torah is not telling you the entire Torah in one verse. But when you read it that way, you become a Christian. You become a fool. Why? Because in essence, you're saying, it says suffering servant. It appeals to me that this suffering servant would be the Yoshke guy because I'm looking for him in the Torah and I can't find him. So let's just say this is him. Let's just say that because I can't find him anywhere else, so I can't find him in a shoebox. I can't find him in Gan Eden. I can't find him among the tzaddikim. I can't find him in the Beit Knesset. I haven't looked in Gehenom yet, but before that, where can I find him? Suffering servant. But actually, if you look at the Christian writings, the Christian sages say that Yoshke is in Gehenom. He went to Gehenom. But somebody, got pulled out somehow. I mean, how does God go to the Genom? I don't know. But anyway, point is, Abutai, if you're a Jew, you don't read this way. How do you read? You read not only Isaiah 53, you read Isaiah 52, 51, 50, 49, 48, 47, 46, 45, all the way to 1, and also 54, 55, 56, all the way to the end, 66 I think. So you read all of Isaiah. And if you read all of Isaiah, you have no doubt in your mind that the suffering servant is Am Israel. Why? Because it says the suffering servant, literally it says it. Suffering servant is Am Israel. But if you're only going to read that one verse and you're going to listen to the teachings of your pastor and priest that are biased, then you're going to simply be mistaken. So when we learn Torah, we cannot learn the entire Torah from one verse. We cannot teach it from one verse. We have to simply understand the whole body around it. That's also part of the reason why Chachamim have to try to be very, very detailed with their answers and give you a lot more information than you asked for. Because you have to truly understand an answer, you have to know everything that comes with it and what it entails and what it affects. To just tell you yes, no, I can do that also, but that wouldn't help you in life. To give you a whole body around it, that's going to give you a solid answer you can work with and build upon. That's generally what Chachamim would do when they would be asked questions and they would write their answers in Sfarim or be asked. They'd give you a whole body of answer and not just yes or no. Any fool can tell you yes or no, but that's not going to help you. So, point being is that I don't understand the question of, the Mashiach not having prophecy. Like, if that's a question, Mashiach not having prophecy until the Beit HaMikdash, I don't understand in what context he's saying that, or what context you're asking that. Generally speaking, we do know that the only certainty that we have about the Mashiach is that, number one, he will come, and two, we will know exactly what's going to happen at the time of Mashiach only when he comes. Only when he comes. That's what the Rambam says. We're only going to know everything that is said about Mashiach as far as what will be once he comes are possibilities. All the different types of possibilities. There's possibilities like this, there's possibility like that, there's possibility like this and that. Not all of them necessarily need to happen. And we're not even limited to those things happening. Point being is that we will only know, the Rambam says, once the Mashiach comes, and therefore that's part of the reason of why we should not delve too much into the study of Mashiach and what would happen, because what ends up happening is that when people focus too much about Mashiach, number one, that means that they're wasting their Torah time that's supposed to help them in this world on learning about something that is not going to help them at all. Learning about Mashiach is not going to make you a more humble person. Learning about Mashiach is not going to make you a more generous person. Learning about Mashiach is not going to help you become more anything that's positive. It's just more knowledge. It's not going to help you, all of a sudden study more Torah, because you're spending your Torah time learning about Mashiach. So it's not going to help you become a better husband, a better wife, a better Jew. It's not going to help you in any way, shape, or form. So you're wasting that Torah time on learning about something that's not going to help you. And two, people become obsessive over it. Obsessive over it, where they simply turn it into some type of idolatry. Hence, look what's happening with Christianity. What's been happening with Christianity, all of their attention went to one specific human being, and in essence, they're considered idol worshippers now, because all their focus has become about this one person, to the extent where they conjure up the nonsense that this human being really is part of God. So that's it didn't start that way. It didn't start that way. When Yoshke was walking around, the people, no one thought he was God. No one thought he was God when he was walking around and making all types of sins. No one thought he was God. But after people idolized him, that's what happens. You ask the average Christian, They'll tell you that he's God, even though many Christians says, no, I don't believe he's God, I believe he's this, I believe. You're never going to have two Christians have the same faith. They all believe something else. No one even believes in the New Testament as it's written. Everybody's got their own version of it, which shows that their own neshama is rejecting it. Their own soul is rejecting it because it's complete nonsense. You don't believe the book. So what do you believe? You believe something that's in your head. So it's complete nonsense. But the point being is, when people put everything into one person, it's not good. That's also what's happening with Jews. When Jews put all of the attention to one rabbi, that's what the Gaon Mivilna said. The Gaon Mivilna was very scared of Chassidut because they were giving too much power to the rabbi. And he says this is idolatry. Even though not everybody agreed with the Gaon Mivilna at the time, today we see that he was very much right. He was very much right to a certain extent, where you see today many people that consider themselves Chabad Hasidim, not obviously all of them, and Baruch Hashem, there's also many good ones that are not crazy, but many Chabadniks, or people that call themselves Chabadniks, have turned the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Alav Shalom, into a god. They outright say he's God. Meaning it's no different than Christianity. But they keep Shabbat, and they keep Kashrut, and they have yeshivot, but they believe that the Rebbe is God. And the same thing happens to other people, where they turn these people into God. This is part of the reason why Kadosh Baruch Hu did not let us know where Moshe Rabbeinu was buried, because he was the closest person to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he did not want anyone to tarnish that by going to the grave and starting to pray at the grave as if they're praying to Moshe, like people do at the Lubavitcher Rebbe's grave, or other tzaddikim's graves. People are praying to the tzaddikim. This is idolatry. So it's never good for anyone, Jew or non-Jew, to focus too much on a specific tzaddik or a specific person. You should have emunat chachamim, you should learn what they said, but all of that is, in essence, in order to connect to the one and only God of Israel. You must have emunat chachamim, but not because the chacham is God, but rather because he has information about God that you need. He has dedicated his life to learn about God, and you can benefit from it. Not that he has any power per se. He's, in essence, someone that dedicated a lot more time and effort to learn about HaKadosh Baruch Hu and His Torah, and you can benefit from that. You can benefit from that work.